Declutter your digital devices, Hmm, which sometimes we don't do, and that's when they die. So you have to think about dust bunnies and germs of all things, which seems very weird. We got to clean our keyboards and our monitors, keeping our computer healthy by doing various and sundry things. And we need to create a restore point. And at this late date, every once in a while, I find somebody who has no clue what a restore point is. Uninstall your software, get rid of that game that you used 3 years ago and you said, I'm done, I'm never going to use it again. Get it off your hard drive. And we need to make sure we have updated software. We know that happens with our Microsoft software. Is if you have 365 or a different version of Office, you need to make sure that it is also getting updated. We need to optimize our startup. I can remember at work when Vista was around, and I'd go into work and I'd get there at 10 o'clock in the morning because my boss came in late, and I decided, why should I be there? And so I turned my computer on, and it took forever and a day to start up. But that was Vista. And I'd call the IT department and they'd say, oh, Judy, just go get a cup of coffee. And with that, the next kid said, leave your computer on all the time. And I thought, what the heck, it's not mine, I will. And that worked for all of us. Is your hard drive organized? Can you find things easily? I have one APCUG person that is very proud that he gets all of his email in the Windows 10 and 11 area. But if I ask him for something, it takes him forever and a day to find it. And he's accepting of that. I'm not. If I'm looking for something in my email, I want to be able to find it instantly. You can organize your desktop icons, your files and folders, and also, as I said, your email. And you do the same thing with your smartphone, either an iPhone, Android, Samsung, whatever you've got. Make everything easy to find and quick to find. So, do you have dust bunnies in your computer? I had Carolyn Monday call me one day, friend from years gone, elementary school, and she said my computer stopped working. Now, Carolyn's not too knowledgeable, and I said, okay, I'll hop in the car and come on up. And she lived like 2 blocks from me. And I opened it. She had one of those oak desks that many of us had with the door on one side that you could open and put your tower in there. Well, come to find out, every time she did that, she closed that door. And when I set everything up for her, I didn't say, now remember, you need to leave that door open. And the only air was where the plugs came through in the back. And so I thought, really, well, just for grins, I'm going to open it up. And that's Carolyn's computer. And lo, the many years that she had used it, all of that was accumulating. And it died deader than a doornail. So, towers need to breathe. All computers need to breathe. Your CPU shouldn't go over a certain temperature, whatever it is for that CPU. If it does, your computer's going to start slowing down and the performance is going to suck, and it's because it's too hot. This is HD Sentinel. I'm sure there are other programs out there, but Gabe Goldberg, the advisor for Region 2, got us a discount one time. And then I asked him to give us another one, and he did. And it tells you when it turns on, it says, hi there. This is your performance, this is your health. Over on the left-hand side with C and D, those are my attached SSD drives, and what it's taking the temperature of is a 2 terabyte SSD drive, and it's telling me it's super swift and it's wonderful. And that's what my HP tower sat on. It needed air. Well, in the fourth bedroom that turned into the office, there was carpeting. And of course, I had one of those mats that I could slide my chair back and forth. But in order for me to comfortably reach the tower, it needed to be over to the right a little bit. And oh, there was the rug. And you could do the joke, take your shoes and push them back and forth really fast and then get a spark, and you didn't want to do that. So that just slides back and forth, front and back, side to side, to accommodate the size of it. And I never had to worry about one of the kids coming up and think they were funny and doing that on the carpeting and zapping my computer. I had laptops. I had 17-inch laptops, Toshiba, that I dearly loved. I had 3 of them until they could no longer accommodate Windows. They need all kinds of air to breathe. You see people with them sitting them on their laps. Where are the fans? Where are they getting any air circulating? So the mesh thing in the middle, that's a printer stand. And I loved that. That was what my laptops were on. And it brought the monitor up, so I just looked straight ahead. I wasn't looking down, not ruining my neck. I was looking straight ahead, and it was a perfect height for me. Or there's the laptop desks with the fans that you could put on your lap, and all that good kind of stuff. And I have forever and a day, even with my desktops, have used a Logitech ergonomic keyboard and mouse. Ergonomic because I don't want carpal tunnel for the amount of time that I spent working on with my computer. So that's mine. And that was a perfect setup because everything was right ergonomically where it needed to be. Plus, my laptop was getting all the air that it needed to not fail because, it got dusty inside like that. And that can happen when you don't have any circulating air. Your fan is covered, oftentimes with a desktop. You will have it against something, and that's where the fan on the side is. That's what happened to Carolyn. Now I don't have to worry about that. I have one of those teeny tiny little mini computers that sits up here on top of my glass desk, and down below underneath it, should I ever feel nostalgic, there's my last HP, my last connection to Windows 10. So everybody needs one of those. If you do not have one of those, you need to buy one of them. And they're great for dusting, but they're great for your computer. You can use it for your keyboard on the keys. You can do your monitor, and while you're doing it, do your flat screen TVs. You can't see. If your monitor is straight ahead against the wall, you can't see that it's dusty and you are not getting the clear picture. The same thing with your flat screen TVs. I have a 65-inch here in front of me. I can't see sideways on it. So I just automatically every month Swiffer, and then I will go over to my kids' houses and do the same thing because none of them, they're all against the wall. And you don't think about that. And it's amazing. And every once in a while, they'll come home and one of my daughters will say, "Were you here today with your Swiffer?" Because the image on the TV is so much brighter. So think about for your phones, your tablets, your TVs, and your monitors. So, and if you can imagine, or maybe you can't, how germy everything is that we deal with. That's how many germs per square inch our smartphone has or more. your desktop surface, your keyboard, your mouse, versus a toilet seat. It's kind of appalling
Okay.
that the toilet seat has way less than anything else. And I mean, it's amazing, but you think about it. We have a cold, we got a runny nose. Well, we're using a Kleenex, but your Kleenex gets wet. Do we zip our bodies up and go into the bathroom and wash our hands every time we do that? Or do we even have some of the little square things in foil that is a tip that we can have there and we can wash, you know, our hands and then fill up the trash can next to us? We don't think about that. We just blow our nose, get rid of the Kleenex, and off we go. And where did everything that you just blew that missed the Kleenex? Your keyboard. And so there you are, and you've got all these germs on your keyboard, and you're just putting them back on your hands and everything. Same thing with your mouse. And it's an ugly world out there when you think about this. It's appalling. And some university, I think in Arizona, did this years ago, and I've always included here because it's ghastly. University of Arizona. Yeah. Oh well. So you need to clean your keyboard. Lots of people haven't got a clue what to do or don't even think about it. So the first thing is, do I have to shut it down? Do I need to unplug it if they've got a plug? Duh, yes, you do. There's your Swifter, first thing you're going to do. And don't forget, there's underneath. You have a top and a bottom, and you have feet in the back, and you can have a slanted keyboard, or you can have your whole entire keyboard straight down on your desk. And if you haven't tried both ways, you should. I have long fingers, large hands, long arms, and I need to have a slanted keyboard. I cannot type comfortably with a flat keyboard. And like I said, I've used this Logitech 320. I went down to Fry's, that is like a Micro Center, is if that's what you guys had. And I started at one end of the keyboard aisle, and I went down, and I went from keyboard to keyboard to keyboard, playing like I was typing. And people were like going, what's wrong with that lady? I wanted something with a very soft touch. That was my Logitech 320. Microsoft keyboards, to me, the keys, I feel like I have to push them down. They're not soft. So anyway, turn it upside down over a newspaper and tap it. There is, do we all, don't eat when you're using your computer. Yes, sure. Tap lightly to get all the cracker crumbs or whatever is in there from between the keys. You got your compressed air and blow the degrees from in between the things. Got your cotton swab, and you're going to dampen it with computer cleaner, and you're going to clean between the keys. I'm looking at mine, and oh, I can see some dust in there. I need to do that. And then you've got your other microfiber cloth, and with your computer cleaner, there is one side, read the instructions on outside of the cover, that they would like you to use one side to clean and the other side to dry. And you never spray, oh, think I'll just spray this on my keyboard. Oh, I wonder why it doesn't work anymore. And you don't spray it on your monitor. You spray it on your cloth. And remember, if you're cleaning your monitor or your TV, you are only going up and down, not in a circle. And when you dry it, up and down. Now, if you want to do it side to side, the one thing you can't do is in a circle. All of that stuff will last longer if you take care of it, and you won't think, oh my gosh, I can't use my monitor anymore. I need to buy a new one. Same thing with your keyboard. You don't have to. Monitor, lightly dusted Swiffer. You got your screen cleaner, same thing you're going to use on your TV. There you go. Do not wipe in circles. Don't spray on the monitor. Gently dry. And there's my trip to my kid's house. So please restart your computer regularly. This is, I say, do as I say, not as I do. Because I still don't turn my computer off regularly. I work in drafts, draft documents, stuff on web pages that I'm getting information from. And so I don't want to save it, the draft, because I'm accumulating information. And once I'm finished, then I'm going to get rid of everything that I used and put into whatever I'm putting together. So I tend to leave mine on until it says, hey, Judy, you really have used all your RAM. I have 32 gigs. And, you know, it's time to shut down. And it really doesn't speak to me, but it seems like it does. But if you don't do it all the time, do it once a week. What you're doing when you shut it down is you are preventing problems that are developing that you don't know about. And they're behind the scenes, and it's getting sluggish for some reason, and you're beating yourself up wondering why. Turn it off. And troubleshooting your computer, my presentation, the first thing I say is turn it off, wait a beat, and turn it on.
It's Wednesday.
Fixes
I'm
it.
going to the grocery store. To get milk. No, I'm not going now. I'm going on Wednesday when the coupons change.
Is it okay for me to talk now? Hello? Hello? Is anybody there?
Yes.
Okay, I was just wondering if I could keep talking.
Yeah, Judy, go ahead. I found somebody who wasn't muted and I muted them.
Thank you. So at least once a week, your computer needs to perform regular diagnostic checks, fix minor issues. You don't even know what it's doing, but it's fixing something that you're so very happy. It does not turn out to be something that is big. You need to install your updates. And people say, well, I do. Well, I don't. I tell Windows when I want my updates installed. I listen to all the chatter. Oh, this update ruined this, ruined that, and everything. And when the chatter gets finished and Microsoft has fixed whatever problems, then I will install my updates. And what do we want to do? We want to optimize our computers to make as perfect, effective, and as functional as possible, because they are an extension of some of us. So do you want to spend money to do that? Well, we need to maintain our cars and our homes. We clean our closets every once in a while. Maybe we only do it twice a year when we change out from spring to winter clothes. So we need to clean our hard drives. If you still got a digital drive or an SSD, you can use the Windows processes, or you can automate with CCleaner. And there's many other automatic programs out there that you can use, and you set them up by once a week, once a month, however often, and they will come in and delete, etc., everything you want it to do. Got to do the same thing with your smartphone and your tablets. Exactly the same thing. So the question is, back in the day, does clicking on shutdown ensure Windows starts things from scratch? Or can we do restart? Well, back when we kind of first started doing this, the only thing we ever did was shut down and then turn it back on. But now I restart. Unless I am going someplace and I'm not going to be home for several days, I don't shut down. I just restart. They do the same thing. They fix any problems that need to be fixed, and we don't need to worry about that. And then it restarts, and all our documents and everything are still there. Okay, so your choice. And see, we open and close programs all day long. We install and uninstall apps. There's all kinds of stuff behind the scenes that start and stop. And we're not thinking about anything like that. And they all leave that electronic footprint in the background. And they say, you don't really need anything, but they don't want to let go. They're still got some handful of your resources that they don't want to give up. So that's why you're going to restart at least. It performs a full shutdown before it restarts. Like I say, I just find that more convenient than actually shutting everything down. Other people shut down their computer every single day when they are finished using it. And my single day will be maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So you'll have a better, faster, better computer if you at least restart. So think about that. System restore. Create a restore point. People say, huh? What's that? Well, it puts your computer back the way it was working just fine. And the one down at the bottom, before you let a friend or relative use your computer. Definitely. And it's undoing changes to your computer, and it doesn't affect your personal files, documents, photos, videos, anything. It gets rid of what screwed your computer up. And if you make a restore point, it will take you right back when, by golly, my computer was working just fine yesterday. And you think under your breath, before Gladys came and I let her use it. And so we don't want that to happen. So we unobtrusively make a restore point, give it a name that makes sense to you, and off you go. Download a program or an app. Make a restore point just in case what you downloaded mucks up your system. Before you do your preventive maintenance, you're troubleshooting, you're changing things like we're going to do in this presentation. Before you start doing this, create a restore point. It doesn't hurt anything, but it's there to help you. And you just, like I say, I did this in August of 24, and I said, Dog Days of Summer Digital Declutter. Before I gave the presentation, it says, hi there, good job. The restore point was created successfully, and this just sits there, and this is the HP, and you create it. They say it's good. Make it something funny like that so you remember what the name is, etc. If you happen to do this all the time, and you're good to go. Uninstall stuff that you have not used for however. And it's in alphabetical order. You can see right there. And my oldest grandson called me one day, and he was my techie. He was using a computer at Grammy's house from the time he was 6 years old. And I was hoping he'd go into tech world, but he's a finished carpenter now. Oh, well. And he says, something's wrong. He played Steam games. It was summertime. Can you come over and help me? And I said, sure. He had all these programs, and we looked at them in alphabetical order, and there'd be one here, they'd be, get one down there. And then I thought, Judy, remember, you can sort by date. So we sorted by date when it was installed, and they were all in a row right there because I was having to go through it and say, now, Tyler, is this one of those programs? Yeah, write it down so I'd remember, and so on. And so I said, okay, you don't need to hang around here anymore. Be gone, and don't ever do this again. And so it was very easy for me to uninstall them. Boom, 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 boom. So if you have a situation like that, off they go. But again, uninstall the stuff that you aren't using. It's not getting updated, etc. It's sitting around taking up space, and you don't want that to happen. And as the virus folks, the hackers, they target stuff that really sometimes you're not using because you have not updated it to the latest version, and the latest version might be a high-flown security update. Okay, so you can uninstall unnecessary programs, and if Windows, you're just moved up to Windows 11, I always tell people, they say, where is everything? Well, you have your search box. Hopefully you've maybe moved your menu system over to the left and what's on your taskbar, so that's what you're used to, and your muscle memory works well with that. And just type in uninstall, and it'll take you right to where you need to go. And I tell people over time, you'll remember where you're supposed to go. But just typing one word in and boom, it says there. So you can go through this and you could uninstall. Here's the clue. And you can uninstall whatever you want to. And it works the same way as the one that we used forever and a day. And uninstall unnecessary programs. This was my old computer telling me I'd used it for 831 days and 16 hours. It told me I have 432 days of use left, and my SSD had that many lifetime rights. Just more information. Do you have a download folder? Everybody does. That's where stuff goes. But do you really need to be in there forever? If you don't check your down folder every once in a while, you got clutter. You don't need it there. Read it and delete it. Or if it's something you're going to install it. Or if it's something that somebody sends you that you need, file, save as, and put it in the folder. Don't keep having to come back to your download folder and look for it when that's not really where it belongs. And somebody sends you some photos and you look at them and, oh, that baby's so cute. Oh my gosh, look at that beautiful bed of roses, blah, blah, blah. And reply to an email and say, oh my gosh, these are absolutely fantastic pictures. Thank you so much for sending them to me. Delete. There's no reason, unless you have a special reason to do it, to keep them in your download folder. If you're going to save them, wherever you save your photos, you're going to download those to that folder. Please, at least once a month, check. You will sometimes find downloads from last year. Now, if I download an app and I know I'm going to get an email with a serial number, my registration information, things like that, I will create a folder in my download folder because that's where it is, or I will create an actual download document folder, and I will put things like that in there, like my HD Sentinel, another app that I might be downloading, so I can find it, because if I renew it, I might need the registration number. and I don't want to be searching all over my computer to find it. So if you have things like that, you've got a purpose to create a folder to put, all my downloaded registration numbers or whatever. So they'll all be in one place for easy access. So check it once a month. You can do it by, there it's 2024. It's sorted by date. And it says that's the date you deleted, Judy. And that's in the recycle bin. I always take one last look, just for grins, to make sure that everything that I put in the recycle bin is, I really want it to be in there. Because when you delete, it's bye. But I'm hoping you're backing it up. And you update your operating system, you check for updates, and this is me. It tells me that's the crappy, that's technical talk, by the way, version that everybody was having so many problems with. More options, get the latest updates as soon as they're available, not for me. I have that toggled off. You can pause your updates for a week, 2 weeks. I believe you can go up to a month. But I have never, ever, with 10 or 11, well, I just started using 11, automatically update. Because oftentimes, they have so many problems, especially with 11, has a ton and a half more problems than 10 ever did. And I don't want to get involved in, oh, this doesn't work. I have this kind of printer, and I'll think, oh, I have that printer too. Then I'm not going to download this immediately until it all settles down. That's just my personal policy. And have you set your active hours? I have people say to me, I'm sitting here, you working away, and all of a sudden the update shows. And I'll say, have you set your active hours? And I go, huh? What's that? Well, that's me to 2 a.m. And after that, Microsoft, anybody, you can update as to your heart's content. Just not when I'm using the computer. And you customize it. And as far as I'm concerned, with any Windows operating system, you need to go through every single setting and make it your own. I helped my neighbor across the street where I lived for 47 years. He was setting up Windows 11. And he says, oh, good, we're done. And I thought, oh, wait, no, we're not. You have to go through every single setting. And I told him, you have to decide, do you want to do it Microsoft's way, or do you want to do it your way? So don't forget to set your active hours. And updating your software, here's File Hippo, Ninite. I personally like Patch My PC, and I've something about File Hippo and Ninite just doesn't appeal to me. I read the Computer Club president's column from Florida, and he just talked about this a little bit. And I started using it, and I just love it. It is so cool. And I've never liked File Hippo or Ninite. They might work for you. And you've had presentations by Bob Gostica, and now he recommends Patch My PC too. And a lot of people have picked up on, me giving a presentation to their group and saying, I really like this. And this is what File Hippo, Ninite, and Patch My PC all do. They're all free. And I say, how in the world do they make their money? Well, Patch My PC has a free program or app for home for us. We don't pay. They sell this to businesses. That's where they make their money. Free to us. They have 300 third-party apps that if you have them all, you can keep them up to date with this. Same thing with Ninite and File Hippo. And this is what PC Update does. I ran it just before I logged on. I had 4 things that needed to be updated. Now you're going to get your updates from Microsoft, but are you taking the time to go in to various and sundry apps that you have and checking to see if you have the latest version? Nobody really wants to take the time to do that, nor do they think about it. But this is telling me that Chrome has not come up in the upper right-hand corner and said, we have a update for you. And Zoom, I update that on my own. You know, John likes us to keep up to the latest update, and they're changing theirs all the time. And so I update when I feel like it. LibreOffice that I use occasionally, especially with our Wednesday workshops. It needs, and it's pending. I took the screenshot of this, and when I went back, everything had done. I have very few apps. I actually have 7, and 4 of the 7 needed to be updated. This happens in the background. It does it all by itself. I can set it up to be every day, every hour, every week, once a month, you name it, and it'll automatically go up and find the updates and install them. No degradation of what you're doing. It just does its thing wonderfully. So if you don't have something like this, you really need to get it to make sure your apps that are not related to Microsoft are kept updated. Very, very important. You can, you know, clean up your disk. This is the way we used to do it. The defrag tool, we'd go into C, properties, and clean up our disks. I'm sure you all remember this. I was chatting with somebody a couple of days ago, and he told me that he was still using XP. Well, you're looking like what it would be with XP. It was this way for 7, and now we go into Storage Sense. Does the same thing. You can turn it on or you can turn it off, your choice. You can make it do it automatically and you don't have to think about it, or you can say, I'm going to do this every month, put that on your calendar and go in and clean up your SSD or your platter yourself. And I have a 2 terabyte hard drive, and this is too full with docs still. And so I can say, okay, I want to see what are my temporary files and things like this. And I can turn it on or I can turn it off. And depending upon if you trust Microsoft to do this for you, you're a happy camper. You can back up here, check other disks and volumes, and it says I've got 5 gigabytes of storage available. That doesn't make any difference to me. I have 2 terabytes. It's okay. So I wouldn't be really cleaning anything up. Is your computer slow to boot up? Use your task manager. Every time you download an app, maybe unknown to you, it will land in your startup menu. You don't realize that. All of a sudden, you're going, oh my Lord, it is taking so long for this computer to start up, driving me crazy. And so you need to go in and check and see what's there. Every time you use Microsoft Teams, I'm a member of the LA FBI Seniors Scam Working Group, and they use Teams. They're with the government, they use Teams. And every time it downloads, and every time it's in my startup menu. After our every other month meeting, I go in and I delete it from my startup menu because that's the only time I use it, or for these FBI meetings. And so there's no telling what you have in your startup menu. So you can do the traditional Control-Alt-Delete to bring it up from back in the day. And then you can go in and you can see the processes that are going on, so on, app history, and there's what's starting up. Your Epson status monitor. Do you really need that for your printer? Probably not. Are you using Edge? If you're not using Edge, you are going to turn that off. Not going to hurt anything. You decided Edge is for you. You just come in here and you enable it again. And that's with everything. You're kind of done with CCleaner, disable it, so on. Another way to find it is right-click on your taskbar, go to your task manager, and you will see on the right there's more things that you can do with your with the right-click on the right there. Or you can right-click on your startup tab and you get different things there. So if you haven't explored the different ways to get to your startup menu, or you've never looked at it, you should, because you'll see there's a phone link. I've got it disabled. I've never used Skype ever. It doesn't exist anymore. It's disabled. I don't use Microsoft To Do. I don't use any of these. They're all disabled. They're all there for me to use. I just don't use them. But at any time, if I want to use the Microsoft To Do, I can turn it back on again. So please take a look at that and see what you've got. And this is how in 10 and 11, you can do it, and you just slide that bar back and forth. Okay. And organize your hard drive. Mr. Gates came to one of the APCUG conferences in Las Vegas years and years and years ago. And he just sat there casually with us. And he said, your hard drive is just like your file cabinet. You need to organize your hard drive the exact same way. I took that to heart because I was in the legal department and I had, I had file cabinets that I oversaw, people working on those, but my hard drive, I needed to organize that. I needed to organize our legal department server that I got them to give us just the one server. So there's Pentaflex folders, subject categories. You've got your digital photo contest, and you know, have one for 8/20/25. And behind that, if you, back in the day when you worked in an office, you would have your, you know, photos by category and all the entries in that, or whatever. And I've lived this way ever since. You ask me to find something, and I can find it very quickly. The chairman of the board used to come by my cubby and kept on walking. Okay, Judy, I'm going out for a smoke break. I need the blah, blah, blah information. I didn't work for him. And I said, okay, Monty, and he'd get in the elevator, he'd go down, he'd smoke, he'd come back up. By the time he came up, I had my hand up in the air and he just walked by and grabbed the papers. He kept, can you come and work for me? And I said, no. And I was the only one that could get stuff for him. That's because I had everything organized. And when I searched, it came up. So if you are having problems, you know, finding emails, finding documents, think about that. And this is my menu, so to speak. I love numbers because numbers rule. Working on, if that's, you know, I decide I really want to make a draft, I'll put everything in there. There's APCUG. There's everything I need to know about APCUG2.org is under new website. There's my calendar, APCUG's Wednesday workshop calendar, blah, blah, blah. There's all my presentations. And anytime that I don't do one of those. Like GO is Golden Oak. I don't teach classes anymore. I can take that one away and it will go down in alphabetical order and everything else. There's my Google Home Tips. That's actually my home automation, and so on. And this works wonderfully because these are the folders I access. I don't have to worry about where's Zoom. It's all the way down to the last folder because that's not one that I access. So this works for me. If Bob Chi gets in touch with me and, do you remember that document that I put together, blah, blah, blah? And I could say, sure. He said, I can't find mine. Can you send me the one I sent you? Sure. It's going to be right there in the Bob Chi folder. And here's my class schedule. If I needed to update my Google presentation or my, 4-hour class on Saturday, everything that I would hand out curriculum wise or whatever would be right there under Golden Oak Google Class. So if I needed to update it, everything was there and I could, okay, this is okay. Oh, I need to update that. That's got new information. And I, went to 8.1 and 10, and I'm glad I'm not teaching 11. I think it would be a difficult operating system to teach. And here's what's in my Google folder to teach adults how to use technology. Okay. Your pictures, I hope you've got them organized. You have that wonderful photo sig, and I would, do mine by year. I'm a subject person, not a date person. And so I would say, Grammy's birthday, that's me. And delete your duplicate pictures. Do the same thing on your phone. Some people have 16 photos of the same thing. There's got to be 1 or 2 that are good. Get rid of the others that aren't. If they're blurry, that's a no-brainer. Why keep it? Delete your folders and files on your desktop. If you have anything saved on your desktop, make sure it is in the appropriate folder, because some programs, when you're backing up, it does not include your desktop unless you have specifically checked that box. You create your app shortcuts, and so you don't have to keep going into this folder that you're working on madly. There's 3 documents in there that you have to get done by the end of the week. Create a shortcut to it. So boom, you don't have to look for it. If you have several icons for genealogy, bulk them all in one icon called genealogy. And it's easier to find things. It's what do you want to do? You want to create a new folder, give it a name, boom, you're done. Here was everything that I did with my computer club at our December 23 meeting. Had the meeting, easy access to all of that instantly. Meeting's over, I deleted that because they were all on the November 23 in the November 23 folder. Do the same with your email. Create some folders whenever APCUG has a contest. If it's a digital photo contest, I make folders for each category. And people send in the photo and I say, thank you. And then I immediately move it over to the folder where it belongs. Category 1, flowers. Category 2, chickens, whatever. So when it comes time for Bill James to do what he does and set everything up in our shared drive, then we quickly compare, but he's going throughout his email. He has to keep looking in his inbox. I'm just looking in my category folders because that's the way I get laughed at. I'm the A through Z person. Most people are numbers. Nope, I'm an alphabet person. So I have folders just like I have on my hard drive. easy access. When we're finished with giving the prizes out, I can take all of that stuff and put it on our shared drive, easy peasy, because it's all in one place. Check your spam folder. John Kennedy and I, we have a new group, and nobody could find the information. I looked in my spam folder, there it was. John said, I looked in mine. Why? And I said, because Gmail did not recognize their name. And Gmail's wonderful for ferreting out spam that never comes into my inbox. So John and I just marked it not spam, and it went back, and everybody was happy camper because everybody's coming unglued. How'd this happen? Where'd it go? Well, I know email, and I knew that was the answer. So if you've got newsletters and blogs and email alerts and you say, that's all about Windows 10, I'm really into Windows 11 now, and you have actually signed up, unsubscribe from the list. If you haven't unsubscribed to the list, mark it as spam, let Gmail or Yahoo or AOL, whoever you know, that it is a spam message. And don't unsubscribe ever to anything that you haven't subscribed to. That's how the bad guys get your information. And when you answer something like that, they clap their hands and say, "Whoopee! A live one!" They'll play maybe, and they'll get in touch again because you've just verified your email address, or you've just verified your phone, that you'll answer your phone. Same thing. And the Fishers say, more money, more money, more money. So Friday, a clean house is a sign of a broken computer. And here's your weekly cleaning list. There you go. Monday, turn your keyboard over and shake out the crumbs. And you get Sunday off to play on your computer that you worked hard on all week. There's more in my presentation. You will be getting a copy of it, but my hour is up. So, does anybody have any questions? I hope everybody learned at least one new thing. That's my criteria for going to a meeting or something. Just one thing, and I'm happy camper. I didn't know that. Or how cool, I've been doing it this way, and now I think I'm going to try this way, the other way.
Somebody, made a comment about, checking for driver updates on a regular basis. What do you think of that?
I don't. Most people I talk to who are the tech gurus say don't bother.
Yeah.
One of my members, he's always got a scheme on that. It's only costing so much. And my feeling is if you've got an app and they've got an update, you're going to find out about it. Or you could go to the app, or you could go to Google. And when I can remember keywords. When you are searching for something on the internet, use keywords and you drill that into your students. And I never used that a day in my life. It's one of those do as I say, not as I do. When I ask Google a question, Jan, I really like the color of your royal blue shirt. It matches the K below you on my thing with CKCS. I was holding a conversation with my computer long before AI, but I complimented her, but turned that into a tech question. That's me. I figure the internet folks, whoever they are smart enough to pick out the words that they need to answer my question. So I don't worry about keywords. And it's just easy because I just sit here and I type 125 words a minute and off I go. and works for me. So singing into Chat GPT and Copilot is easy for me because that's the way I talk to my computer anyway.
All right, any other
So
questions?
Ben, I would go to whatever app you think about, because you're going to get that from Microsoft, the updates, and say, does the Hoo-Ha app have any driver updates?
My theory on the drivers is if it's working, don't fool with it, leave it alone.
Yeah, that's what everybody has always told me, that because you can do, and it's like your registry. Don't muck with your registry. Well, CCleaner has a place where you can muck with your registry, but they automatically make a backup of your registry before you see if anything needs to be changed. And I would do that when I was using CCleaner. I would do that, and nothing drop dead happened to me, for heaven's sakes. But that's the other thing. Don't muck with your registry and don't play around with your drivers.
Questions or comments? Judy, we thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You were asking for Phil's last name?
Yeah,
O'Neill.
okay. I don't think that's the one that I was thinking of. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for attending. Appreciate it. And, we'll get a link for this if you want to go back and go through some of the things that Judy talked about. All right.
And I
Good
do
day,
want to say,
today.
This was great. Thank you, Judy.
Organizing
You're
the
welcome,
computer
Jared.
file. So.
and I want everybody to petition Zoom. When I click on leave down there, I want to be able to walk through the door and have the door close. I don't think that's asking too much. And I'm going to try it now, and I know I'm not going to. No.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.